a gCADPlus user is having a problem with this particular drawing. He believes that the drawing is too large, and I would agree. File and file size is 3.24 megabytes. That's very large for a drawing of this size. And let's just work through a few of the reasons why that might be the case. One useful thing to do in all drawings that you're having some difficulty with is just make sure there's no other elements in there that are causing grief. And I've zoomed out a little. And the reason I did this is zoom extents didn't seem to work as well as I would have expected. And I get two items over here that are clearly not showing, but they're there in the drawing file. And if we click here, and if I go to the end of the line, that tells us that Google confirms independently the position of the gazebo is correct based on willow location. I've no idea quite what that means. I don't think it's contributing to this drawing, probably not contributing to the slowness of the drawing either, but we will delete them. So erase those, and I would then just continue setting up that crossing window. Well, after we do that, we need a regen. And just look through here and then look through the left-hand side. Here's something else. That's a little rectangle. Well, let's see what else we can find that might possibly be contributing. If I look in here, can you see there appears to be double lines here? And if I zoom right in, and I'll take the grid off for the moment. And if I select here, oh, I can't select it, so we need to look at our layers, and there are some locks on here. Whenever you're investigating a drawing, remove any locks. I zoom in here, and that is a polyline. I'll use tools and send it to the back, and then I should be able to select these, what I thought was a hatch, but in fact it's not a hatch. That's a large rectangle, and then a much smaller rectangle. So that whole zone through there has rectangles to represent the boards. Now, unless you are doing quantity takeoffs, that is a serious waste of effort and time. And what we can then do is pick these. If we do need them as boards, the best approach is to make a block so they're individual boards. But what I'm going to do is get rid of all of these, selection of those and removing them. All I want is in fact the polyline for the area, and then we'll hatch it and we'll get pretty much the same effect. I also noticed that there is a line type scale there, which set at 100, and that puzzles me a little. And there's another, so there's rectangle on top of rectangle, so lots and lots of entities in there, and we will need to clean those up. I was, of course, having some difficulty in selecting those objects, so I'll set a window now, like so, over that area of interest, and click. And holding the Shift key down, I'll remove that house polyline and the polyline under these entities, and now we have them all. So we can do it in one fell swoop. We can get rid of them. So now we have a single entity there. We've removed a lot. I certainly don't like that 100 line type scale, and but we might want to say yes, it has a border, and for the border color, I'm in the habit of setting a border color at just a bit off from the full black, and I'll make it 251, and that probably then needs to be brought to the front. And now we can see the border or the zone of that decking. What we're now going to do is to hatch that area, and that'll be one entity that we're adding, not a whole lot. And we'll pick a hatch pattern that's got a couple of lines close together. Now I forget which particular pattern that is, but I'll be able to scroll through and find the one I'm after in a moment. A very quick way to find the hatch pattern is just to load a hatch pattern drawing, and the one I'm after here is ANSI 32 at scale of 20. That should give us the sort of appearance that we are after. And here's the result. So I hope that gives us the impression of boards in this area. So we've removed a whole lot of entities, and let's just check again the file size and see if we've come down at all. 3235. It's a small reduction, but worth having. I notice if we click here, this filled polyline has transparency of 100. In my view, there's no need to, I'll escape from there, no real need to do it in that way. Well, here's the result. So now we have two entities there, the filled polyline and the hatch, much simpler. I noticed that it has quite a dark background color, but there's transparency of 100 set to it. I think what I've done here in this one is just pick there and look at the color 184, 166, 92. So it has a fixed color. So why can't we just jump in here and choose via select color, true color, and we'll browse and we'll pick a brownish, woodenish sort of color, and we'll set it like so, and OK it, and then we'll set the transparency to 255, which is take it off. And now when we unselect all, we have the same effect that we had before, but we're not using transparency. The other thing I'll do now, having made that change, notice how the smart labels here, which are on their own label, on their own layer, I can simply turn that layer off. So that handy to be working with layers. Now we have a clean slate. So we can do the same as we did down here. These, I imagine, let me send that to the back again. I imagine these are rectangles, maybe not. Yes, they are. And we will do the same again and remove all of those, and we pick up some more space and snappiness in the drawing, we hope. Well, remembering here, what we're trying to do is reduce the file size of this design, and none of these points are in any particular order of importance, but if I pick what appears to be some pavers running through here, they're 450 by 450, and they're set up and drawn as individual rectangles. It will be far better to create a block and then copy instances of the block along here rather than separate triangles. That would help a little. When I click on that paved area here, it's indicated with a polyline, but there are a very large number of vertices along certain points on the polyline, down in that area there, and again up through here. So I think that's point 0, and I think that's point number, well, I think it was over. Let me try that again. Yes, it's hard for you to see, but 227. So there's 227 points, and that suggests to me that parts of the arc or polylines have been exploded and then rebuilt. So I think that's taking quite a bit of space. Similarly, the blocks. So we'll keep working on the drawing, and get back to you in the next in this series, see if we can reduce things even further and make the drawing more stable.